Smile, smile. Well, you may not understand why I said smile, smile. Well, it's a special edition of Trailblazers Africa. My name is Moses Opadi. And today, as usual, we've gotten someone that, well, if you ask me, I would say this is one of the people that are really building the country, building the continent of Africa. But you may not have been seeing much of them on various television like others that are making noise. And that is what Trailblazers is all about, to look at those that are really doing the job on the ground and, reflecting on the, the generality of the whole nation. So today, my guest on Trailblazers today is a graduate of University of Nottingham in the UK. Actually, he got his PhD from that university. He's a researcher. He's done so many things. It is better for him to express it than me telling you. So today I have Dr. William Anthony jonfia Essien in the house. I'd like to welcome you to Trailblazers Africa, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, smile, smile. Maybe I will start with smile, smile, smile. Someone was giving the instruction.
Yes.
Why is it so?
Well, that is very characteristic of my wife, my dear lovely wife.
Also, your wife said so?
Yes.
Okay.
She always wants to see me smiling when I appear in public.
Was that what attracted the first time, when we flash back to before the children started coming?
Well, it was part of it, but not all. Yes, because she was really attracted by the sweet spirit in me.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And she also liked me anytime there is a smile on my face. So she always wants to see me smiling.
And she's never afraid of maybe the smile will capture someone else too. No, the rain.
Not at all.
Oh, wow.
Not at all.
Well, it's Trailblazers Africa. That's on a lighter mood anyway. Dr. Essien, let's look at Dr. Essien. I knew that you didn't just become a PhD holder. It must have started somehow. How did you start? Let's look at your background. How was the background like?
Well, my background, I would say, has got a little bit of a checkered history. In the sense that my education was not very, very smooth. It went through a number of hiccups. I remember when I was in school, right from the beginning, we did not start school with 6 years old. We started school by doing this.
Wow.
In the olden days. And soon after starting school, when I was about to go to class 2, my father was transferred. Went to another location. There was no school, no class 2 vacancy. I had to start from class 1 again. And in actual fact, I started class 1 3 times in my life. And then
you started from 1 3 times?
Yes.
How did it happen?
Because of movement. When your father moves, he moves with the family. When I got to class 4, I had to go to another class 4 in another school. So it wasn't very smooth till through the help of God, I entered into the secondary school, and then after Form 5, I started working because there was no money to continue the school. So while working, I was also doing private studies on my own, and by the grace of God, I managed to go through the A-levels and entered into University of Cape Coast. And God really has been on my side.
Sorry, doctor. What was the driving force at that time? The money wasn't there. The challenges was very serious. Starting primary school, primary 1 3 times, and you have to do this. At that time, discouragement should have set in and said, well, after all. May I ask, was your father a farmer?
No, my father wasn't a farmer. He was a human resource personnel.
Wow.
And he was someone, more or less, who was determined to keep the family together. So he didn't really find it the need to leave the family behind on going on transfer. And as you rightly said, I could have become a dropped out, especially after Form 5. But I was determined. I was focused. I knew that I was capable of achieving the height that God has set before me. But it requires a little of determination, patience, and dependency on God. Because I know that I couldn't have done it on my own. I want to be very, very candid with you. I couldn't have made it on my own. It was just by the grace of God. I know there are many out there who are also determined. But what is lacking is Christ who makes the difference.
So were you a born again right from childhood?
No, I wouldn't say so. But we were brought up from a religious home. Going to church was a routine. Praying, having quiet time, Bible studies, they were all routine. But still, I did not know the Lord as my personal Savior. It was until the year 1972 when I had a personal touch with the Lord. And I gave my life to Jesus Christ, and I also became a born again.
Let's look at, I'm so much interested in that, the background. 3 times starting primary school, primary 1. Not that the money was there, movement from here and there. Was there somebody that was always, propelling you to be focused, or it was a self-determination within you that, look, I must make it, whatever may happen?
In fact, it was a self-determination. And then at that early age, I heard a lot about Billy Graham. And even though I was not a born-again Christian at that time, I admired this man. And I determined that one day I'll also become somebody like Billy Graham. Even though I did not know what it means to be born again. And that determination alone was there. But I must say that focus is also important. Remaining focused, not cutting corners, but remaining focused on what is ahead. You see, it's one thing identifying what your vision is, your aim is, what is ahead of you, and another thing, pursuing it. You see, and that is the catch. But vision without Christ has no basis.
Vision without Christ has no basis. That is what Dr. Essien is saying. And, self-determination. This is not what can come by just let me use the word, by way of just saying, okay, yes, I just want to do this. How did you develop that spirit of making it? Because that is what, and I know that the younger generation, especially someone who is going through a very tough time, who want to learn from your experience. Now, at a very tender age, as a child, you were determined. What was how did the determination come about?
Well, I will still say that it is the Lord. Because nobody is born with determination. Okay? But I knew what I want to be. I wanted to be in future.
Okay.
And I was determined to be that kind of person. And that alone was a driving force. Okay. But Christ made a difference. I became Christian early in life, and that has been of great help to me. Perhaps that made a difference, because when I received the Lord as my personal Savior, we were trained to depend on Him, to pray, depend on Him, pray, depend on Him, and not to look on others. Some people, perhaps through other means, are occupying certain positions. You cannot be at that same position overnight. You need to work on it. You see, and hard working, it doesn't come on a silver platter. That's why I'm saying that focus, you see, is you must identify what you want to be, remain focused on it, and perhaps that one can also ginger your determination then you're already on the driving seat.
Now, when you were young and you gave your life to Christ, according to your statement, very early enough, you have some peer groups, some friends that they'll be looking at you, and maybe by the time they are moving around the city with some handbags, some ladies, I mean handbags, and here is a very handsome essien then, not yet a doctor. How were you feeling? How was the feeling like that? Oh, I think I'm missing my youthful enjoyment.
Well, I think what you are saying is true. I had a number of friends, and they were enjoying themselves in quote. And I remember they used to tease me, Criffy boy, booklong, bookworm, all sorts of names were given to me. But I was never deterred. I never missed playing football. I'll go and play with them, but after I come back, I was someone who never believed in giving up things because of failures. At least if I cannot remember anything during my younger life, I remember one thing: never give up. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So when I play the football with them, play drafts with them, when I finish, I get back to my books. They will continue chatting, going about, some drinking, going after women, as you said. I decided not to, because I looked at the life of some people who decided to live by drinking and going after women. And I couldn't see any good testimony in them. They were all around, you see. And to me, they could not influence my life to achieve what I wanted to be in future. So the best I could do was to just look and then turn to whatever I wanted to do and remain focused.
Well, right from the, from childhood, Dr. Essien, did not respect this word. If you can't beat them, you have to join them. So that is not part of you then.
It was not in my agenda at all.
That adage is wrong.
Well, it is. It is very wrong. It is very wrong, because you can look at the lives of many who decided to live by that agenda, compared to those who decided to turn their back against that agenda, and you see a great difference.
Now, at the university, how was life?
Well, I would say cordial, friendly. During our days, things were a bit better than today. We had rooms of our own, so you go to lectures, you come, you can decide to remain in your room and study, you can decide to go to the library. There were a lot of activities on campus. You have the right to decide which activities to participate in it, and you will never find me in every activity. No, I was very selective in all the things that were going on campus, because I knew why I was there. And I knew that if I don't strive hard to make it and I become a dropout, I'll have myself to blame. I knew that not many people had the opportunity to be there, and therefore I had to make sure that I make use of the little opportunity that has been given to me, so that I could also become an example to many people who also want to make it.
Well, at a point, we may likely go for a short break, but before we do that, I'd like to ask Dr. Essien another very interesting question. When you were growing, definitely there would have been some challenges that when you look at the situation around you, you will call yourself, oh, Tony, why am I giving myself all this stress? Why not just leave this school, cry? If the school is not, beg, let me just forget it. Was there a time such, spirit came and you were almost giving up?
Yes. That is quite true, because there were times that I felt like just giving up. But just at that time.
What happened at that time?
School fees. You don't know how it is to go to school and you'll be told that you can't stay because of school fees. And when you are walking out, your friends will be looking at you. You don't know how it is. Very painful. And if you are not that type who is so determined to remain focused, you will easily give up. There were times that I had to help my wife to sell. My mother to sell.
I think because the love for your wife is so serious, even when you want to mention any other person, the wife came first before any other person.
Yes. I had to help my mother to sell.
I hope somebody is watching to take a clue from you, so that they must take their wife very seriously. We will still go back to that anyway.
Yes, yes. We will talk about that.
All right. You were helping mommy
to sell. Yes. Sometimes I have to carry the hunter white balls. They call them fum on my head. Go run, sell them, and come back before I go to school. Sometimes in the morning I have to go and work in the garden before I come take my bath and go to school. Sometimes I carry shirts and other clothing, follow my mother, run offices to sell. You see? And sometimes you need to go and help the farm work. You see, you do all these things so that you could get something out of it. Now,
with all this you were doing, now that you are a doctor, you are a PhD holder, and you've traveled around the world, have you not met anybody maybe in the course of the job that you mentioned farm? The person will look at you and say, "Oh, doctor, they said you farm. The way you look, you even cutlass will run away from you."
Well, farming is one of my hobbies. I love gardening, and wherever I live, you will not come and see only grass and concrete. You will see plantain, you will see pepper. As I'm speaking now, I've started harvesting cucumber. You see cocoyam. You see, there are a lot of things that I believe strongly that we should be able to cultivate in the house.
But now as a big man, you could have some people doing it for you and pay them.
Yes, I could. And that is a choice. I could. But even when the one is doing it, I get involved. I get involved because how will the one know exactly what you want to do? The one may decide to put something here when you actually want it here.
So you like doing things yourself?
Yes, I remember when we were living at Domi. I will come from work very late in the night, and I'll be gardening with light. And sometimes my wife could not help staying in the room, but will come and take the light and will follow me while I'll be gardening. Because I come home late. And the only time I had at my disposal was the night, because we had church activities at the weekends, even in the evenings. So the times that I'm a little bit free in the night, I spend the time gardening. And we're harvesting a lot of onions, plantain, cassava, and we're helping the home. Hitherto, the money that we could have used in buying those things becomes savings to us.
Now let's look at the research work in Africa. You are a researcher and you have done a lot of that. How would you say we are really doing on the continent of Africa in terms of researching into issues before taking decisions?
Well, for research, I would say that Africa, we are doing a lot. The continent should be proud to have great researchers. A lot of research work, even in Ghana here, are being conducted, and brilliant and beautiful findings are being made. The only unfortunate thing is that most of these research findings gather dust on the shelves. That's the only unfortunate thing. But when it comes to research, we are doing so much. When it comes to agriculture, I wouldn't rate Ghana as doing so much, but we are not doing badly either. Ghana, we are blessed with vast land, vast agricultural land, but we are finding it difficult to entice people really to go into farming. So we are all depending on the few hands that are working. And I always thank God for the lives of those who decide to put aside everything and soil their hands so that some of us could eat.
Now, there was this statement by a friend of mine. He is an American. He said, Africa, you have so many cultivable land but uncultivated.
That is true.
What do we do to that?
We need to encourage the younger generations to go into farming. If you go to most of our villages, you will see that majority of the farmers are very old. The youngest you could get could be around 50, 55. By virtue of where I work, I've got the opportunity to go around the country and I meet a lot of the farmers, 60 plus. But the youth are not developing the interest. We should be able to inspire them. We should be able to put in a little incentive to attract the younger generations to go into farming. And here I admire the vision that was put up by our late past leader of the country, Achampong. He brought Operation Feed Yourself. Now, if you decide to put everything aside, Operation Feed Yourself did help this country. And I'll be most grateful if we could even revive the spirit of Operation Feed Yourself and encourage people to go into it. And the time you realize, we'll be exporting. Now, all the younger generation, everybody want to be in the office. A time will come that will work with paper, but there will be nothing to depend on.
Wow, a time will come when we'll only be working with paper and there will be nothing to depend upon. Well, I think I better remove my jacket and go back to farm so that I will not be cut up with the effect of carrying paper all around and not having food. Now, I heard something about Zimbabwe, that they are into commercial farming, and that every family, the moment a child is 18, is given a cow, a female cow, to rear. Now, would you also encourage commercial farming in other parts of African countries as a solution to the problem you are almost preempting?
Well, commercial farming is good, and I admire the courage of those who boldly enter into commercial farming, because it comes along with a whole lot of challenges. You need a good financial base. You need the machinery. You need the manpower. The workers must be paid. So commercial farming is very good. And I will encourage anyone who wants to go into it to boldly go into it. In fact, those farmers are carrying us. They are sustaining, if only I can say, life. God has given us life, but they are sustaining us. If they also decide to lay down their tools, there will be trouble. Already we've started crying about farming. You see? So all those lands could be cultivated. We could go into mechanization. Mechanization wouldn't involve a large labor force. But you cannot do it if you are not financially sound.
Dr. Essien is our guest on Trailblazers Africa, and we are looking at his person and how we can help this continent of Africa. Well, before we go for this break, I'm really enjoying myself, I must say. I'm going to, when we come back from this short break, I want to look at you and your family. and that would take us to where we'll be looking at Mama. You know, I opened by saying smile and smile, and you told me that that is the order. Is that your referee anywhere you go?
Well, I wouldn't say it's my referee, but it's now part of me. It's part of me to put up a good smile.
Wow. Well, I wish you can see the wife. I wish I could just take a picture of the wife for you to see. She's so beautiful that Dr. Essien would have made a mistake if he hadn't, you know, gone for.
That is true.
Am I saying your mind?
That is true.
Wow. But then before you captured her, were there others that were saying, when I prayed, I saw God give me this man, and you told them no way?
Well, there were a lot of women around me. a lot. At school, at home, at church, our environment. But for reasons that is best known to God, she was the only one that was so attractive to me.
Wow.
And she's also got that good spirit, that sweet spirit.
And she smiles too.
And she smiles too.
Wow.
And I really love it.
Well, I'm beginning to be very, very jealous, I must tell you, but I will control myself. It's Trailblazers Africa. Well, we're going for this short break, and when I come back, my guest will still be with me. I advise you don't change the channel, because what you are yet to hear, you will get to hear it just after this break. So I'll be back with you on Trailblazers Africa.
Your innovation needs the right medium to get to the right audience. Have you heard? A promotional news program that sells ideas, organizations, services, people, places and projects to the public with authority and in authenticity is the program to fix such ideas. Have you heard? Brings out the facts that the public wants to get in a unique and unbeatable style that keeps the audience glued to their TV set for bumper analysis on your product, service or activity. If you haven't told your story on Have You Heard, then the story hasn't been told. Let the public hear you loud and clear on Have You Heard. To feature on Have You Heard, contact the marketing department of Crystal TV on 0244 850 773 or 020 733 1444. Have You Heard? Taking your ideas to your target.
My name is Advocate Martin Tafaradina, Zimbabwe, Africa. Keep watching Trailblazers Africa, Crystal TV. It's wonderful.
I'm Dr. William Anthony Jonfia Essien, a research scientist by profession and a pastor by call. And I really love Trailblazers, and I will encourage all of you to be watching this program. And I know that you'll be very much inspired. God bless you.
You're watching Trailblazer Africa on Crystal TV. My name is Dr. Erica Bennett, Head of Mission for the AU Diaspora Africa Forum, Akwaba.
My name is Empress Levi. Please continue watching Trailblazer Africa on Crystal TV. Only the best.
My name is Jeanette Ndlovu. I'm the South African High Commissioner in Ghana. And you are watching Trailblazers on Crystal Television.
Welcome back to Trailblazers Africa. You see, I really laugh on the program, but because there is an instruction that we must laugh and laugh, so I'm just laughing. And my guest again, you can't just have him without laughing, so that is why I have to laugh. Yes, you have so many titles when you were young. Mr. Laughter, Mr. This, Mr. That. Then, when we went on that break, you were telling me how hard it was to read because you just wanted to make it in life.
Yes, we happen to be in an area where we were the only home with television. And almost, that was those days when the television was starting around, I think, 6 p.m. or so. So normally by 4:30, people come to book their seat. So when everybody is there,
your house became a viewing center.
Yes.
Okay.
the TV entertainment center. People will come, children, adults, to come and watch television. When the adults come, children sit on the floor, the adults sit on the chair. And I realized that there was no way I could live in such an environment and study. So normally, when they are booking their seats and they are watching the television, I pick my books and walk down the main street. At that time, there was a filling station called Mobile on the Kanda Highway, and that was the only place with light. The street, there was no street light, but that was the only place with light. So I normally go there and sit under the light at the filling station. The light is between the fuel pump and the street. So I sit there and I study. I was never bothered about the vehicles that were passing up and down. I witnessed a whole lot of accidents, but I was never disturbed. I was never discouraged.
But at that time, some people will be looking at you and probably saying, I hope something is not happening upstairs. Because you go as far as going to where there is only available light to be reading.
Yes, you see, at that time in life, we had the impression that only the rich could go to school. Because the only people we saw going to secondary schools were the children of the rich. And I determined that whether I'm from a rich family or not, I must also be in school. So if by studying I could make it, I will make the try. So I